Civil rights leaders have shown growing frustration with President Biden since he will not demand an end to the Senate's filibuster rule. It, by several counts, is blocking a simple majority vote on a pair of voting rights bills. So, President Johnson, where do you stand on these concerns right now?
For us, it's about the outcome. Members of the Senate must ensure that our Constitution is honored, that the rights of voters are protected, and how they get there is really irrelevant. So the procedural rule of the filibuster is another argument. Right now, we're talking about protecting the rights of voters. The sense of priority has not been placed on this issue at a level that would ensure that African Americans and other communities can know that they can cast an effective ballot.
And so when you talk about voting rights, we know that the March on Washington coming up this coming August 28th, actually, it's calling for voting rights protections. So how is the NAACP updating its commitment to this and mobilizing for this cause today?
Well, we are targeting states where Senate members live to ensure that they can hear from their constituency base. NAACP being the largest civil rights organizations with actual members on the ground who are constituents that help get elected many Senate members across the country. We are sending a clear message. This is not acceptable. We've done our job. You cannot out-organize vote suppression. Therefore, we organized in November of last year to put policymakers in place to protect our right to vote, and we want them to follow through with that commitment.
Now, what's your read on corporations' role in this? Back in April, corporate America sounded the alarm on voting rights, and a small fraction of them have been willing to exercise their political might to protect these rights, which, as we know, disproportionately impact people of color. Even those companies have been largely silent recently. So what is it that you want corporations to do?
They need to stand up and ensure that we have a democracy that's inclusive, a governance that's representative of voters. It is not good for business. It won't create and sustain a stable economy. And in fact, it only undermines our positioning globally. And many corporations in the United States are global corporate participants. And we cannot go abroad touting democracy if we are unwilling to protect it here in the United States. And in corporate America have a profound role to play. Access to voting isn't partisan. Access to voting is a guarantee under our Constitution. They should stand up and ensure that our Constitution is honored.
President Johnson, I want to switch gears here to talk about a different issue. Recent research commissioned by the NAACP shows that although roughly half of the Black community in the U.S. has been fully vaccinated against COVID-19, African Americans still make up a disproportionate amount of confirmed cases, hospitalizations, the most severe economic impacts, and the number of deaths. And of course, as the Delta variant rages on and other variants emerge like Lambda, the NAACP is ramping up its efforts to keep the Black community informed. So first, what surprised you the most about this recent research?
Well, many African Americans understand that although they have received the vaccine, we must continue to take precautionary measures, particularly indoors, and wear masks. That was good to know. Secondly, as the Delta variant really take hold in the southern states primarily, and it's brought across the country, these are states with governors who refuse to fight with the facts. And unfortunately, we've just seen recently that the governor of Texas contracting COVID. We have to protect our community. We have to protect our society, and we can only do that with facts. So we are asking all of our members, people at large, let's fight with facts. Let's make sure that we continue to be socially distanced. Let's put on masks, but let's get the vaccine, because this is a war of those who have not been vaccinated. And if that continues, it's going to impact all of us.
Now, African Americans, it's been well reported, have a complicated history with government-sponsored vaccines. And we know that early on contributed to some vaccine hesitancy. And so that now that over half of Black people in America have been vaccinated, what did the research tell you about the motivation to get a vaccination?
Well, one of the things that I took from the research is it was less about hesitancy and more about availability. And where there was enhanced and increased availability, we see more people take the vaccine. Because with availability, then the questions of doubt can be resolved and people can really protect themselves. We've seen it in Los Angeles where African Americans was far under indexing their population in terms of those who's getting vaccinated. But when the mayor of Los Angeles made it much more readily available through the traditional institutions in the African American community, we've seen a sharp increase in those who would take the vaccine. So I always say, don't conflate the difference between the hesitancy with access. If you give access, we can overcome the questions of hesitance.
And the NAACP's COVID No More campaign, it initially launched back in May, but some of this information is on that bank. Since you guys have added more information, is this a hub of all things COVID, and what can people expect on the platform?
We will continue to update as we learn more information so that people who know better can do better. And that's really important. As we confront this virus that we're still learning about, we have to provide factual information timely to individuals who are concerned for themselves, their households, and their community. That's really important. Many African Americans live in multi-generational households. And because of that, I don't want to take the virus to my mother or my in-laws no more than anyone else throughout society. So as we know more, we are providing that on our platform so people can do better.
Derrick Johnson, President and CEO of the NAACP, thank you so much for joining us on Quick Take.